LIBER HIDEOUS by Steven Nite, first edition. Great Black Lodge. This is one of those few rare gems that cannot be read or listened to. It can only be deciphered. It is up to you to pay attention and take note. Jot down on your pencil and pen the numbers, various symbols and quotes you see, and to look for any idiosyncrasies or synchronicities that you may happen in your life after partaking of this gem. Book 1. 366 equals 486 equals 81. Behold, the Göttenslotstrung against the gods of men, and against the men of gods, for there is not one, nor two times itself. 72 is not infinite. Make no mistake, eagle and snake, the countdown to eventuality is in order, methodical, designed, not by divinity nor a crime. Time cannot fathom infinity. The dove, discovering the fig, is but a Trojan horse. Of course, obviously to the Norse, Hel was known as a being who presided over a realm of the same name. Consider the source, a myth. Touching a frog or a toad will not give one warts. However, I profess knowledge of Bufo alvaris and give praise to its buffotoxins and poison. 5-ME0-DMT. Praise be unto thee, three evil spirits that look like frogs, which leapt from the mouths of the dragon, the beast, and false prophet. I, too, am in a secret fourfold word, and also am well versed regarding the fourth ordeal, the ordeal A, which is the ordeal of the ipsismus. Yet my meaning here is not that of Tzedek. It is up to you to know why the house that Opal provided was necessary, and to who, I swear, squared, let the paradoxes become induced hemlock in the system of shit, muck, and mire. Cast that into a lake of fire. That which is not, nor will be ever. Another level, a secret key, Apophis triumphant, symbolic of Set, a hidden Typhon. Behold the pylon of eternal darkness. I have wrote of this, the great black, and the bridge. However, here is advanced the rite of night, the hiss, the kiss, the abyss. Blasted brother, false father, motherfucker, egg sucker, credit claimer, defamer, non-maker, taker, oath breaker, dreck, bounce check, total wreck, fucking feck, disrespect, slime. Here at this point, I burn the Hierophant's tarot card, the fifth trump or major arcana card, and ignite a black candle with it, and state into the fire, it's payback time, eat a piece of swine. Swallow it, then recite this line, Esse signum, then blow out the candle. May the circles of Fisternus favor me, the bold beholder, ah, me, the awful author, the lover of the devil's daughter, the free, 93/3/93, the lovers, the beast is but a key. I watch as I point any depiction of Adam and Eve, and draw your attention to their belly buttons. Think. I've seen the crystal with the forbidden symmetry found in the 4.5 billion meteorite, which, through a high-resolution transmission electron microscopy image, shows that the real space structure consists of homogeneous quasi-product and tenfold symmetric pattern. Ah, an unorthodox arrangement of atoms. Behold the quasi-crystal. VII, VII. On purpose, for a reason, for everything there is a season. Then there shall be one for eventual, and one for the books, and another for the sodomy of nuns. Let death not take a holiday? What a beast of burden indeed, especially when unleashed. Lo, the demon seed creed. Another lie. The octopus only has 2 legs, the rest is technically arms, and that is the truth. How self-centered 9 is, and as always comes back to itself. The angles have been noted here. As a construct of LaVey's administration, I refuse to continue the truce, and smite the might which is right, trite, pax D, trigugla D, nine, 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 neen, neen, neen. I say with conks on pax in mind, and knocks, and slain lamb's chops, and yet another paradox, about a mountain so big it would be unmovable, liber evel ex scrotium, sub figura ix, that's a different nine, as is the lieu of nine, the elected Nite degree, therefore at this level and our corresponding degree, thwart a purpose or to a Freemasonry. Do you know the 9 secret shrines to Camazotz? Do you know them as the Bat Towers? 7 are in Texas, and 2 are in Florida. Do you know of the nightmare that is yet to unfold? Some peace, some truce. Study this first, and know what has to do with decapitation. Then you will know the gem. Let the learned know the spot. X marks it, like crossbones, for it is a plot. If home is where the heart is, that really says a lot. The irony is, there is, parentheses, 38.0 44635, comma, dash 85.0111102, end parentheses. It has been said, don't kill the messenger, but I did. The messenger of God, the translation of the name angel, and I mourn, miss, grieve, and hurt. Deep turn indeed, for they're here to there to here, where I care. The origins of the statement regarding curiosity killed the cat came from the quote, care killed the cat, yet care in that instance was defined as worry or sorrow. Helter skelter hangs sorrow, care will kill a cat. Ups, tails, and pox on the hangman. Commentary within the book, of course. I noticed this before. The earliest printed reference to the original proverb is attributed to the British playwright Ben Jonson in his 1598 play Every Man in His Humour, which was first performed by William Shakespeare. End of commentary. The rain comes again, then memories and revelations of justice. The cat has been hit by a car and lay in the gutter with its brains hanging out of its ears, and its eyeball popped out. It was meowing and kicking and bleeding and dying, and I put it out of its misery. Care killed the cat. What happened afterwards remains a part of my life's history. That was over 17 years ago, yet it was only yesterday that event was brought back up again, via a complete stranger who was having a conversation with my brother, who had absolutely no connection or understanding with the true details, only remembered the burnt cat was left hanging on a stop sign. The sorceries of Zos, cults of the shadow, Zos, Eos, the Kia, the Careza, the delineation, spare none, be just, fear not. Ah, the knot, or knots, of a noose, of the hangman, la ipso, li pendu, Illuminati card, New World Order, political correctness. From justice to the hangman to here, not just evidence left behind by the DC snipers either, not just a syllabus of steps upon the path, not just the royal arch of Enoch, nor the degree of the knights of the 9th arch. However, let me say, the Lord is dead in Zion. Let all the earth curse him for his fake and terrible name, for it is phony. Jablahanam, aha, the secret of secrets to some, but not to me, nor to this. The triple Tau is inferior. Ha, I am that I am, ha, Om, the reason for the hidden hand, more than a Mahabane, more than a Nimrod, who was 13 down from Ham, more than the 13 mentions of the Valley of Hinnom, and more than the 13 mentions of the dragon in the so-called Book of Revelations. Curse, Thessalonians, cursed by the letters of thy name, and what of Mark 7.20-23, our weapons and deeds, what has inspired such writ, the eternal pit, a lunacy, fit, holy shit, death, and truth, death, oh death, oh death, oh death, the maker and taking of one's very own last of breaths, the bridge to the great black beyond. Dying, here is wisdom, behold, the black dawn. All roads lead to Rome, everything is eventual. Here to the acknowledgement of how insane this appears to the unmoving. This is not for them to know, but for so many to find out, it matters not. Death and dying, after all, isn't some big secret. Ha! Step into the secret circles of goetic evocation, then intentionally and deliberately put together a Nanga Calardro, according to Pablo Mayambe, then realize a 007, I mean John D. and Edward Kelly, with an obsidian mirror from Mexico lacks in certain departments of practicality, to say it very lightly. And what about temperance? What about dead suggests? And what advice have deceased have to offer? Lend them your ear. Hear clear in the details. Here there is revolting revolution. The Gnostic Nass is too full of right-hand path brouhaha, as is the Black Mass as well. Well, take that, Luciferians. Take that, Yazidi folk. Adversarian adversity, no, an atheist proclaims, while calling a modern personification of Satanism a church in Satan's name. Who answers to Apep, Apophis say? O set, pre-Judaic symbol and sign reveal. Day, O slandered, O most slanderous, accursed, they say. Anti-Heru Raha, Allah exul, we pray. Iyaka nabudu wa ikaya kanastani'in. The Iblis to Abu Lahab, smokeless fire and all. The fall, the call to all, now popular to who? Some stay stuck here at this point. Some turn back and run for their life. Yet some who gets the gist and acknowledges the aspects of the truth behind this does whatever they do. Then there is the few who this is to, who has more than just knowledge of the great black. There's always more than meets the eye. Just act science, the deicide. Pride must be found inside this verse, for reasons too obvious to recite. The 9 statements, 7 sins, and all that too, right? The evil that men do's, glue, vu, and hoodoo, rights, tefnut and shoe, just for spite, Piru too, quite, the pact, what a witch's brew in Nox. A word for the rebel, evil, how typically so. Again, for those who are in the know, there is a reason for the title advocate. They're too full, most diabolic, blamed by hypocrites. And so what of Milton, of Marlowe and Goethe? What about Mogham's Oliver Hideoux, or Shaw's The Devil's Disciple, or even Cagliostro's? The list goes on, but here, I'm not saying what you think I am or that I did. Without commentary, there is only darkness, and the fear of such, fear, the terror of the masses, where the truth is hid, confusion to the confounded, la torre to others, or how symbolic and unsimple, or proper p, does it not? It's not about wickedness. I know how it looks. I've seen the exploitations of murderers and crooks. I know all about the black books, grimoires, and dark doctrines. Yet, the point is a paragon. I've been asked why I would leave these words here for others when I am dead and gone. What good could come of it? I've been seen as a monster, a madman, vile and sick by some. Surely this is ammo to slander me, and could be used against me. 17N. Whatever happens shall be so. There is a rule of eventuality. I confess to all my crimes, laughingly, to the courts that would convict me, and the mobs that would kill me, and to the doctors that would admit and commit me, and to all the people that would love me. All the while, I'll keep inside why. Why Baphomet? Why the inverted pentagram? Why the inverted cross? Why the branded 666? Why 15 is carved on my neck? Why the bloody tears? Why the scars, cuts, and fangs? Why all the black and death? This isn't about me. I am destined to die, but let it be known that ancient darkness was before me, in me, of me, and will continue forever. Yes, the great black possesses all the keys, from the beginning to ending and more. What an amazing, most awesome thing! How perfect, how worthy of my words. Graphic content ascending. Smile, you're on camera, being watched, observed, monitored, tested, and see. Love is in the air, and so is illusions. The rushing to do something so important on time, the traffic and standing in lines, the cancers, heart problems, and strokes, hospital rooms, morgues, funeral homes, jokes, nurseries and nursing homes, savings and loans, and the unmentioned abuses and neglects, moans, racist rants from all ethnicities, sexual offenders, churches that's all calling their names, and flickering flames of war, and the suicides. The bloody floors, the bile and gore, mixed with smells of disinfectants, enchantment, hypnosis, psychosis, poor ants, different places of the fool, sometimes unnumbered, sometimes represented as zero, sometimes second to last, sometimes the last. What about the despot? It was said comment would only mar the simplicity of this chapter. What about every individual is essentially sufficient to himself, but he is unsatisfactory to himself and unestablished himself in his high relationship with the universe, if the universe only knew right? To a prince of Libanus, the axe is no more noble than the sword. Ask about that. Then ask about the three-headed serpent on the flap of his apron and what it represents. If the serpent represents idleness, then the three heads represent the vices of which is often the result of idleness, i.e. drunkenness, impurity, and gaming. Why did, in the 19th degree, the heads represent error, falsehood, and intolerance? And if the serpent being chained represent the destruction of those vices, can one be distinguished from the other? What does this verse have to do with the serpent and the rainbow? A fool doesn't know. I have stated that something comes from the existence of nothing, therefore nothing must exist. It starts with the ewig finsternis, absolute, eternal, infinite, without value. Let's start here at absolute nothingness, zero. Before the beginning there was nothing. For something to come from nothing, it took time and space for the nothingness to exist in, or else nothing would not exist. And at the end, when all this stops existing, everything is destroyed and back to nothingness. The nothingness will still exist. Nothingness cannot be destroyed. The great black is that infinite superpower before any beginning, and after all things, before any light or God. Therefore, it is the true creator and creative force behind the origins of the universe. Darkness. If I point out to the night sky, the universe you see, that you observe existing, exists. And the infinite space of the universe, as big as it seems, isn't there anymore to you. If you happen to die while looking at it, your conscience goes into a different realm of darkness. The same realm of darkness of which your conscience came into being from. Through death, I have proven the existence of two different eternities, existence and non-existence. The great black is only one. Therefore, at levels unfathomed by many, there is no difference between the two. Forever is forever, wherever forever is. Here is where I mention the communications and interactions between us and the great black, by pointing out the origins of talent. Do you believe in the occult, in theory or in practice? What does one seek in such there? Where is there? In the hidden, in the unknown, in the obscure, concealed, secretive, mysterious? Seeking out in the shadows to find one's true self? Seeking the devil, demons, holy garden angels, secret chiefs? Or maybe just an audience, seeking life, sex, death, out of ignorance or curiosity, seeking logic, reasoning, truth. There is only such a variety in agendas, aims, and intentions. Sneak off and do something secretive, do something out of character, for fun. Have fun, take note on how it goes. Why did Atlas shrug? Thou knowest, and the sign shall be my ecstasy, the consciousness of continuing of existence in the omnipresence of my body. If perchance you get to this part here and think it's best to go up grabbing LIBER EAO and believe there's a secret connection between the verse and the holy kisses exist, then since I said something about such, it must be so. No! Nor does it have such connections to or with LIBER Trigrammaton unless you have insights beyond ... And why at the end of it sorrow? And why in that sorrow a sixfold star of glory exists, is found, but only there. Ye unto the stainless abode, to the Knight Commander of the temple I say, I know of the scarlet hangings, with black columns at intervals, and each which is an arm or a branch, holding a light, and why, and many words, thou shalt not avoid sin, for we all must die, we all must die. Let the symbol be shown here of a black key with a surrounding laurel wreath. And then shall I mention the aether, which is called Za, in 418. By playing a child's game, symbols thou shalt never understand, for one cannot become the 8th degree equals 3rd degree by intellectual manipulations. Hint BAG. Hint 2. Let the hidden name be here to the point. Knight of the Sun? No. Prince Adept? No. 219? Yes. The hidden name is number again. One might be thinking Albert Pike devoted 219 pages of morals and dogma to translate the materials associated with the 28th degree, which begins on page 219, and believe they made the connection. And what about Chicago? Cold, priest of princes, equals 219. Warmer, the pole star. Another good attempt at finding it. However, there you shall find Legla. Don't worry, you can always come back to this later. Love, I love you. Night, come over us. Thou art night, O my love, and there are no stars but in thy eyes. Tex, the night Kadosh, John A. Dreams, Liber, or maybe even 463AABK24ALG MOR3YX2489 RPSTOVAL. There's much more to this than such. It does, after all, take more than a few books to master. All it takes is more than a few masters to master as well. Show and tell, it's the monkey wrenches. It's the inconsistencies, it's the chaos, the unexpected, the errors and the folly. The smarter the better. The more advanced, sometimes the faster, sometimes the slower. It's sometimes the imperfections or wrongs. It's the difference between the art of making visible that which isn't, and the art of making invisible that which is visible, and so much more, such as the limitations, such as the limitless, if that which is possible and that which isn't all rolled up into one. When faced with powerlessness, what do you do? When lost, where do you go? You found these words somehow. A grand inspector, inquisitor, commander is taught to give every man the benefit of innocence and purity of intentions, and that he who would not judge others must first judge himself. La, not. It showed me the garrote, and taught me that which is not. I thought a lot about it. The plot. That which is more important, the pimp, the prostitute, or the John? I suppose it depends on who you are asking, or who I am asking, more so than the reason why. Here one should understand the wisdom of Tad, as set forth by Ko Ewan and CLVII. What does the mountaineer think, do, or see? About it, it too depends. Here, read Al chapter 1, verse 32 again and again. Need I really even say Book of the Law? For those who don't know what Al is, or Liber Al Vel Legis. Again, depends, doesn't it? Enough of, because be he damned for a dog. Be ready to fly or smite. Fly like an eagle, the eagle double-headed, or smite for might is right. What would Baphomet do? What does Baphomet have to do with this? Here, as much as order ob chaos and synthesis, or wine in the human skull? As hemlock juice jumped by Socrates, may the bitterness of knowledge of these words poison the minds of any opposition here. Fuck. 5, 3, 1, 2. The absolute and symbolic form divided. Let them, the absorption of knowledge, meet the love of wisdom, not just through a corruption of the name of the Islamic prophet or another reference to the Mendes goat. What was Hugh de Pines thinking? What thought of Jacques? Ah, yes, the curse of Molay is noted here, as is the androgynous synthesis and hint of Kundalini, as is the witch's sabbat and the kiss of shame. Let this be more of what Maurice Bessie's book cover was to Harwood Levy. Behold the real black flame. Here I read out the Deus Necum Jus on a piece of parchment that I've cursed and placed on the ground, at a place considered to be holy. Spit on it, throw some cemetery dirt on top of it, and say, fuck Pike and fuck the right, and then urinate on it. Lessons be learned. Here is water, you are a horse. Don't deny pleasure where it is to be found. Praise indulgence, praise gratification, and be blessed by desire and lust. Pick a flower, plant a flower, eat a snack, take a narcotic, live. Hasn't this been stated enough? What about synchronicity? A disrespect to the AAA own NMS, a knowledge of the moon, or why praise a red fez? A praise beyond a tomb. Here is known that Allah was another generic name given to God by Muhammad. Allah was a tribal deity, the moon god of Muhammad, the name of the god of the tribe he was born into. Behold the crescent moon. Here it is known when Muhammad, the army of men out to slaughter the infidels, came to a city named Fez in Morocco. They found a community of Christians, and thereafter killing all the Christians with their Islamic-styled swords, they took them off and dipped them in the blood of the Christians. A mention of mysterious arcanum, arcandrum, or should I speak of Lucifer's, devil's past, and urine? Or should I state how I'll bet you $1 that I can guess nearer to this brother's age than you can? What a silly bet indeed. Whispers, let them pass, or strip and hang that spy without delay. From the crossing of hot sands to the rough road, and sands that leads to the burning hole test, ha! From the devil's pass to the prairie dog, to the return of the drunk for Fez, a boxing bout. From the hot seat, ice and washing, to the well of the Zemzem, to the eating of dung, to the grand salam, the mock trial and hanging, to the kissing of the black stone, and then some. What about the stolen pocketbook, divulging secrets to a woman? What about finding the stolen pocketbook, and what is boring route? Ha ha, wheat. I shall never bow. We shall never bow. Never. Kappa epsilon phi alpha lambda eta lambda epsilon yes. Vino of Milo 333 by DCLXVI breaks. There is no need to recite Mashaf Res here, nor Meshaf Resh, nor Mishafa Rez, nor read to recite the Kitaba Kli or El Jilwa. For even these are known to be what they are known to be to the knowing. Here there is only a truth of truth, then the knowledge of Nemo, the wisdom of Nero, and the understanding of lies, old and new, told and sold, otherwise forgery, fool's gold, and not. Teach and learn. He shall by the works of the sword and the wand, the wanga and the obeah and the spells and mantras, and then shall come the knowledge of why I mention eclipses. On one hand, the Tao teaching, on the other, nothing. Some say the latter is better. Some doesn't have a clue. What about the return to simplicity? Note, not bitty 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 boo. Will I begin? I will profane. Thrice 13. All at once and most sardonically sardonic. The cause and the symptom of slavery is found in the world's tragedy. Therefore, heaven ain't nothing but a casket. Here is mentioned the history of Rome as Titus Livius, as how a red Rose absorbs all colors but red, and therefore the one color that is not. Behold, a critical error of the right-hand path, the madness of slavery, the slavery of madness. Behold, the backfire math. A greater feast for death is in order, greater than the feast of fire and the feast of water, greater than a feast for life. For the knowing knows the world of sin. A deeper spin, O man, refuse not thy wife, if she will. Here I recite the cry of the third aether, which is called Zon, and say, strike the shepherd, and the sheep will scatter. The pleasure of the uttermost delight, how sad, but why? Because the majority, the multitudes of masses, such a thought inspires fears. It is not worth it, they profess, thinking of the bird in hand. Why would the thought of such pleasure invoke an expectation of loss? Or even irresponsibility of escapist ideas? Ah, some ask, what such cost? Programming, enslavement, misery? Such a concept of thinking of such a pleasure is identified as being a trick, or often thought of impossible, like an ass looking at the carrot on a stick. Fool's gold, again I say, how sad. There will be some who will get this point and immediately already know why a mention is made of the mass of the phoenix, or why I would say show an image of a twig. For those who don't know, I am left to only wonder, how did you get to this point? Go back. Here then is a curse, the abyss, and crossing it, a must. It took 22 times to get here, and 11, for the rest of this verse becomes sealed up in silence. To resume, let those who would have been benefited be angry at the presence of ignorance. May the experiences of all lessons be learned. Smite the intruder. There is no cheating this process. The order is dictated by lex talionis, where the circle of life and the circle of death can easily be one and the same. The expectation regarding my speaking upon Chinese music is noted. I could easily recite such at long length. Where is my proof? Proof is only possible in mathematics, and mathematics is only a matter of arbitrary conventions. But I bet you thought of something else. I must admit I was thinking of something else too. Something about a corpse. Let nature take its course. What about the rape of Lucre? What about a shovel holding necrophile? What about an altar boy and a Catholic priest? What is faith here, and in what? Behold the mourning widower, left and full of love, full of pain, full of desire and rage. The black dawn comes at different times to different people. How it comes, too, occurs differently. Variables, the taste of the strawberry, unique, odd desire, the mire in the mouth of madness, the laughter in the shadows, the voices of psychosis, the faces of death, the message between the lines, the master and the servant, the inspiration of impulse, predisposition, the enthralled and the not. But all is business as usual to the mortician. La clef des grandes mysteries. Here, there is the expectation where you deliver your own critique, to outwardly prospect your own formed opinion, and then challenge the accepted norms and taboos of what was proclaimed by Eliphas Levi, Alphonse Louis Constant. Then publish your findings. Here I express my expectation that you studied and meditated upon the 22 axioms found within the so-called key of the so-called mysteries, and that you first found folly in Enoch, Abraham, Hermes, Trismegistus, and Solomon, namely rubbish of the right hand, since an axiom or postulate is the presence of a starting point of reasoning as classically conceived. An axiom is a premise so evident as to be accepted as true without controversy. The world's origins comes from the Greek axoma, that which is thought worthy or fit, or that which commends itself as evident. Therefore I state 22 axioms they are not. To that shoemaker's son, who was educated at the church of St. Sulpice, I mention an intrigue with magic and the occult. I may also mention certain encouragement towards his curiosities found his headmasters exempt of animal magnetism, which was that vital energy of the body was controlled by the devil, or even his ecclesiastical studies, and how he never became a priest. A short-lived career because of his so-called left-wing political writings. And also they found it impossible to keep a vow of chastity. Or I can mention his 3 short jail sentences, but to here I shall only mention Ganyal. To illustrate the influences of by Francis Barrett, Sir Edward Bulwer Lytton will be for a later time. It is up to you to make the connections. And then there is the truest of secrets, sealed up in the vault of secret places, where not even the faintest of whispers about such has knowingly muttered. Time after time, crime after crime, punishment on top of punishment, it is nearly impossible to trust any word of sign expressing true safety for interaction. This is the presidio to Michael Aquino instead of the Wellsberg working, is the occurrence when lies and truth becomes mixed up and jumbled, and leaves the minds addled and confused. This is the dark side of Les Parmigone, a razor for a goat. Crowley said, I have been accursed of being a black magician. No, more foolish statement was ever said about me. I despise the thing to such an extent that I can hardly believe in the existence of people so debased and idiotic as to practice it. About pedophilia, he stated, acts invasive in another individual's equal rights are implicitly self-aggressions, such as rape and the seduction of infants, and therefore justly regarded as offences against the law of liberty, and repressed as the interests of the law. It was stated that he died alone and in poverty. There is facts which argue against such demeaning belittlement, and regarding the reports of sacrificing children, about 150 times a year, he was simply referring to masturbation jokingly and euphemistically. The title, Wickedest Man in the World, came from a tabloid article. A tabloid article! Aleister Crowley's 1913 diary states about info about a boy showered with foaming seed, while the other in his orgasm receives the waters. Let it be no sin to us who have buggered the virile bum, while he, priest, thrusts his thyrsus between the boyish buttocks. All is accomplished. Come, holy dove, and let us not forget to mention, when making the cake of the light, the best blood is of the moon monthly, the fresh blood of a child. Was I speaking upon secrets, lies, or the truth? I expect your range of study and analysis to be and see beyond the shown, and to read what isn't written, and more so at times than what is. The lies told about LaVey is lengthy as well, and so is the truth. Parents Joseph and Augusta LaVey versus Michael and Gertrude LaVey. His Transylvanian gypsy grandmother was really a Ukrainian named Cecile Luba Primakov Kulton. Kulton was anglicized from Kulatonov, and she was neither a gypsy nor Transylvanian. It was told that in 1945 the 15-year-old Tony was brought to the ruins of post-war Germany by his uncle, a U.S. Coast Guard officer. There, the teenage ASL was shown top-secret films inspired by satanic cult lodges and their rituals, and claimed that the German rituals in the 1972 book, The Satanic Rituals, were actual transcripts of the filmed rituals he saw as a youth. But in reality, young Howard spent the entirety of 1945 in suburban Northern California and never visited Germany at any time in his life. The uncle who he claimed had brought him to Germany was incarcerated at McNeil Island Penitentiary and was never in the armed forces. Plus, Allied martial law forbade American citizens from visiting post-war Germany, and the rituals in his book was written in extremely poor anglicized German and are clearly uncredited adaptations from the short story The Hounds of Tindalos by Frank Benlap Long, and also H.G. Wells' famous novel The Island of Dr. Moreau. There was no San Francisco Ballet Orchestra in 1945. The San Francisco Ballet was accompanied by a local orchestra whose records show that no one of his 3 obis was named Leve or Leve. The Clyde Beatty Circus kept voluminous archives which show absolutely no record of a Leve or Leve as a lion tamer or musician. The Cancelos, Alonza, Cristinas were never Beatty performers. They worked exclusively for the Ringing Brothers Circus. Everything told about and relating to Marilyn Monroe by Leve was all lies. The Maine was never a burlesque theater. Neither Monroe nor ASL worked there in any capacity, and Diane Leve admitted that she forged the famous inscription on the calendar which stated, "Dear Tony, how many times have you seen this? Love, Marilyn." San Francisco Police Department records have proven that Anton never worked for the department, and Frank Mauser, who worked as a SFPD photographer, confirmed the same. The San Francisco City College has no record of ASL's enrollment at any time. 6114 California Street was ASL's parents' home. It was never a brothel, nor did Mammy Pleasant ever live or work there. San Francisco never had an official city organist. ASL shaved his head in the summer of 1966, not on April the 30th, due to a light-hearted dare from his wife, and had nothing to do with the Church of Satan, nor do Yazidi Qualals shave their heads. Anton Sander Leve had no involvement with the production of Rosemary's Baby. He was not an advisor, nor in the film. The list goes on and on. However, I must address my reasoning for commenting upon such length here. Secrets, lies, and truth, to each degree and level, be it through ascending grade or delving deeply into discerning details, ascending in grade or descending details, affiliation, opposition, the acknowledgement of every angle shall be considered and accepted as having its very own place in eventuality, like a librarian in a library, looking at books along the cryptic path, our authority of the occult. Can that which is truly occult be learned, be known, or experienced, be shared? This has been known to be asked by many, and asked to many. More than 2 answers have been given. The devil's greatest magic trick, or not casting pearls to swine? Not all the same. In all obscurity, that which is hidden, the unknown, is both known and not. The cemeteries possess many keys to many mysteries for many reasons and purposes. Behold the thickening plot. Grail missions, fool's errands, witch hunts, and the hero's journey, all being duly noted as February 29th, 1946 EV and John Whiteside, Jack Parsons in 6-17-1952 suppression. This verse is sealed up in itself. What does this have to do with the righteous people who weren't found in Sodom and Gomorrah, or the shekels of silver for sleeping with the virgin? Here is the smallest number of the sum of 2 non-zero square numbers in 2 distinct ways. Here is a Harshad number. Here is a non-totient, a non-quotient. Here tin is significant. Here is the gates of impurity and of wisdom and understanding. Let this verse be a curse to every chapter of the book of Genesis. Let this also be a curse unto the Pentecost. Behold, the sum of the squares of the sacred Pythagorean triangle. O none, how it is true, the exact moment of opening that, the particular gate, the crossing of the abyss, becomes relevant. Knowing that knowing, here is where the great black is experienced, far greater than any Binah. O none, need I speak upon the fish, or Jubilee, Exodus 14, or kingdom to provide proof? I have a true knowledge of the fallen one, O Messiah. No, I need not, for such has already been easily proved, as have the 50 names of Marduk been listed in the Enuma Elish. All this is known. Therefore let me advise now and recite the new unknown and unseen gems, unheard of until now. Now, to the east, I show a torch, to the air, and to those wear the true morning star of 5, and mock the golden dawn with the black one, reveal the her holy number of Enlil. Let the traditionalists find the truth of the great black to the west, with the earth above and fire below. I acknowledge the symbol of Leviathan, of morning, the eternally raging seas, the four square, the base, the material, the physical, the left hand, that which I mean facing the altar in a black mass. How modern indeed. Don't let directions confuse you. It all depends on where you stand. Where have you been and where you're going? Eventuality is in the proof. To those that say, but this is all known, please feel free to add and include your own commentaries. This work was made for many. Laughing at Atlantis, yes, the so-called lost continent. For what reason? Presumptuous grandeur? Not at all. Under the title of Terrier Work, my gist, the island of Atlantis, pulling legs. A feckless farce, indeed. The German word list means. What would I mean when I say this? How long did it take you to read this? A sucker is born every minute. Behold, the blueprint of Christianity, indeed. It may not be funny to who fell for it. Here I give my mention to Heaven's Gate. Here I give my mention to the People's Temple. Here I give my mention to gassing of Jews. Afterlife equals punchline. Behold, the quip, the repart, being saved. Right, no prestige. In mentioning the manifesto of the OTO, I didn't want to be seen as a chewer of the red flag for the bull-baiting purposes, so with BN I left it at that. Bullshit. When I came to the 27th ODD number, I found more than just 7.280100989 or 110101. I found the star of submittance and refuse near the gate of refuge. And at the lote of the tree of utmost boundary, I found too many lies in the Surat Ajnaham. Good judgment? A must, yes. Purple is the hardest color for the eye to discriminate. Here is a mention of Nero. When he became emperor, the wearing of purple and even the sale of purple was punishable by death. Emperor Julius Caesar and Augustus both decreed that only the emperor could wear purple. Good judgment? Let this verse then be titled Shellfish, with a purple eye. This verse has a significant atomic number. And there you know why. Behold the secret eye of Odys. Have you learned yet the formula for not eating excrement or drinking urine in the underworld? With my claws, I too tear out the flesh of the Indian and the Buddhist, Mongol and Din. What about the dowser? Some will expect me to speak upon the eavesdroppings here or the letters of the name, but I will not. Ah, too late. It was said, change not much style of a letter, not in style or value, not in style or value. Balatsi, Ampheda, I spit on your crapulous creeds. A curse to every paraka, a jinx to every sidra, a hex to every seven, recited in the book of Revelations. At this end of this verse is 9. Of course, I wouldn't be doing this verse any justice if I didn't acknowledge the chemical yosting of Brother Pararuda. So let me emphasize, Yonens non sin fulmin. For the obvious reasons, I entitle this chapter Bum. To Saturnus Parseval and to Retinos Hamanius alpha x degrees to a mass of blood and slime. I see the blushing of cheeks when a mention is made regarding come holy dove at any time, every time. How superior is the eye of Horus to the mouth of Isis? Ha ha! Per vos nefandum. Isn't the secret of the XI degree still up in pedestry or just a sodomy? And what is to be said openly about the Karanzan Club? Cecil Frederick Russell is being mentioned by name, Franklin Thomas, William C. Conway, and Roland Merritt Shreves, and William Wallace Webb, and Michael Paul Beatrix, and yes, even the Caliph Grady McMurtry. Leigh Haflum, Patrick King, Marsala Ramos Mata, Herman J. Metzger all have relevance. as does the TOTO, when it comes to the subject at hand, including conflicts. Here I speak. The hidden word of this verse, Vimarka or Vamanmarja, associated with Vamarga, for every reason thinkable. According to Papyrus Chester Betty 1, Set is depicted as trying to prove his dominance by seducing Horus and then having intercourse with him. However, Horus places his hand between his thighs and catches Set's semen, and subsequently throws into the river, so he may not have been inseminated by Set. Horus then deliberately spreads his own semen on some lettuce, which was Set's favorite food. After Set had eaten the lettuce, they then went to the gods to try to settle the argument over who would rule Egypt. The gods first listened to Set's claim over dominance over Horus, and then called his semen forth, but it answered from the river, invalidating his claim. Then the god listens to Horus' claims, having dominated Set, and his semen called his semen forth, and it answered from inside Set. Here I say no and the na to nu, and yes, a hint of trouble with twins. Also, Plutarch states that Pythagoras associated a polygon of 56 sides with Typhon. While it is impossible to construct a perfect regular 56-sided polygon using simple square and circle geometry, a close approximation was discovered and claimed might have been used at Stonehenge. You do the math. The number of cards in the minor arcana of the tarot deck is noted, but here is a distraction when viewed from this side, as this number of men was signed in the United States Declaration of Independence in 1776, and Arthur Edward Waite's The Life of Louis Claude de Saint Martin, the unknown philosopher, is stated that man fell from proceeding from 4 to 9 and can only be restored by returning himself from 9 to 4. This law is terrible, but is nothing in comparison with the law of the number 56, which is frightful for those who face it, since they cannot arrive at 64 until they experienced it all of its severity. It is up to you to learn about such. I have only handed you that particular key so that you might. As I've mentioned, Typhon, which was born exactly to half the 11 number, whose equal parts represent 56. Half of 112 is 4 times 28, or 4 lunar months of 28 days. Thus, I had much more to say than 11. It may be said that every 57 years the phases of the moon return to the same hour of the same day. But what has such to do with thee? And February the 26th. Let this verse be named, and the sweet fairy rose, and the fact that during the Crusades the Knights Templar, who could not attend choir, were required to say the Lord's Prayer 57 times a day, but in the end it didn't matter one bit. So, let us not forget, despise also all cowards, professional soldiers, who dare not fight but play, all fools despise. On the Quabala shit, ironic, to shit on shit, in the Temple of Solomon the King, one may find an essay upon number, but here what is to be found is a bunch of Jewish jokes. Why did Hitler kill himself? The Jews sent him a gas bill. Have you heard of the Jewish Catch-22? Free ham. What is the difference between Santa Claus and a Jew? Santa Claus goes down the chimney. I asked a Jewish girl for her number. She rolled up her sleeve. Why do Jews have such big Jewish noses? Because the air is free. Why don't Jews eat pork? Jews might be a lot of things, but cannibals they are not. The cryptic order of the Black Dawn, in giving praise and recognition to the Great Black and the Black Lodge thereof, revealed in S.L. McGregor Mathers renamed the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn to the Rosicrucian Order of Alpha et Omega over 100 years ago, keeping the Golden Dawn only as the Alpha et Omega outer order. Let us then curse them both as being one and the same etrog. From here across the gulf and back, 7 times Amirta. Some comments on the elixir of life. One could Liti and Boaz and never get it right. Here I looked on a regular icosahedron and was confronted by the 14th supersingular prime. I meditated upon each stellation until I realized the last minute, the last second time. Slow down, you move too fast. You got to make the morning last. Just kicking down the cobblestones, looking for fun and feeling groovy. In case of circumstance of the mixture of female sexual fluids, semen produced in the sexual act of Scarlet Woman, Babylon occurs, such is called the elixir of life. Another alternative form of this elixir is the elixir rubeus, consisting of menstrual blood and semen, abbreviated as El Ru by Crowley's magical diaries, and referred to as the effluvium of Babylon, the Scarlet Woman, which is the menstruum of lunar current by Kenneth Grant, to wish ardently and to will by strength, and to aim or cause change to occur in the future by aiming or causing change to occur in the present, by master who understands eventuality, has then a great and magnificent advantage, yet knows that time is of the essence. Here is a true and profound truth, the cause of a great fear to many. Let its ancient symbol of power be praised, and opposition may it be accursed. 3 times 4 times 5. Here is a knowledge, let whoever may it be know severe its methods. Behold, some XV, 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 an endless diatribe. Here is the support for the cycles, how 0 becomes more than nothing. Sealed up in the DCCC, sub figura not the ship, behold, Sabbath, O ye Sabbath. From the outer darkness to the inner darkness, from the innermost depths to the outermost depths. Here I mention circulation eternal, from Ouroboros to Ouroboros. Behold the scarab again and again. Need how I mention an enigmatic book of the netherworld? Aha! More than hint at Mehen, M-N-N, Mehenet, O Jangamander, O Caduceus Serpentis ad infantanum. The great black secret holds the secrets anew, and none namet, yet on levels of pre-atum, pre-aten, pre-jetan, before knew it, pre-tohu ha-wabuhu. Here is the wisdom of Chaos Kampf, before Shu, before Tefnu, before Map, before Isfet, before the Song of Origins, the primordial waters of what is known. The secret name of this verse is Shit Eater, and let God be cursed for a dog. Moot. Veil cause, to many all or nothing, but beyond such, this is here. Here is the proof of my being awake and alive, which is much better than many. Yes, am I proclaiming that I'm doing better than my opposition enemies who want me to be. This is a blessing and a curse in one. A blessing to me and a curse for them. A curse to us is their blessings. The upright in thy uprighteousness and rejoice. Death to all fishes. Here is more than a Aramskadon Sodecahedron, a secret seal up inside, 14 plus 15 plus 17, and 111110. Non-com der Heiden Heidland, a mockery, a disrespect of Martin Luther by Reach or me, the omission of perflaws noted, a mockery, a Shemham Farash, absolutely ulak, valak, valax, valu, vilak, volak, ha or el. A profanity against Johannes Trithemus, a slandering of Jacob Winflim's name, not a care or concern for Hermann von dem Busch, Rudolf von Langsken, Alexander Higgs, Rodolphus Agrippa, Pomponius Laetus, Filippo Berardo, or Ortwin, etc., etc., etc. I have been so bold to name Yabir Aben Hayen here, or Atomus, or Heraclicus, and yet even Simon Magus, Albertus Magnus, and I shall not forget the Gerald Fitzgerald, the 8th Earl of Kildare. And what of Nicholas Flamel, Roger Bacon, Agrippa, Pietro Diabano, Girando Bruno, Apolli, Abraham the Mage, Sir Thomas Brown, Arthur the son of John Dee, Roger Bollingsbroke, Robert Flood, Marliso Fleetcho, or Alexis Vincent Charles, Bergringer de Terre, Niveen de Thyme, all duly noted. Here, Amigathon Blackwood, Robert Franklin, Arthur Machen, Samuel L. McGregor, Iona Mathers, Pamela and Colum Smith, Arthur Edward Waite, William Wynne Westcott, and William Butler Yeats in a list with Heinrich Himmler, whereas Israel Regardie, Roger de la Frost, Murray Hope, Phil Hine, Gregor A. Gregorius, Kenneth Grant, Ramsay Dukes, Peter J. Carroll, and even Marjorie Cameron is on the same list as Gilles de Rais, where Lady Frida Harris, Leila Wadal, Lavosin, Kelly Grosto, Adam Weishaupt, H.R. Giger, Austin Osman Spar is found along the same side as LaVey, Crowley, and Robert Anton Wilson. Therefore, this verse shall be entitled Obit, and is brought to a close with mentioning of Yama. To show with Minsana, the Mishtah, and the Misheniot. Let it be known that this verse is a curse. One can also study by repetition a curse to each of the 6 orders, Sedarim, a curse to each of the Tractares therein, all Meshiot, every Meshet, all the Pekarim, every Perek, cursed, cursed, cursed. Dumlat. I spit the venomous poison on the Shisha Sedarim, the Zeraim, the Moed, Nanashim, Nazitim, Kodashim, Toharot. Cursed, 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 cursed. The oral law, ha. Oral, oral, oral. Oral Torah. Torah meaning instruction or teaching. Ha, ha. Erumar, Felar, Coninas, Felation. Behold the mouth of hell. The mouth of hell. Haba, 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 wink, 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 os, os, os. Lombare mund, leken sanga labas. Untalagahem, kof, etc., etc. Here a mention is made of the Egyptian Book of the Dead, the funerary text such as the pyramid text and the opening of the mouth of the ceremony ritual. Involving the symbolic animation of a statue or mummy by magically opening its mouth. Special tools were utilized to perform this ceremony, such as a ritual adzed, an arm-shaped ritual censer, a spoon blade known as a peskaf, a variety of other amulets and tools, such as an interesting tool the peskaf is, and a serpent-headed blade. There was also where a calf's leg was held up to the lips and painted on a coffin. Here is a mention of meat offerings. Thus the name of the verse is A Mouthful. My mouth is opened by Ta. My mouth's bonds are loosened by my city God. Thos hath come openly equipped with spells. He looses the bonds of Set from my mouth, etc., etc., etc. O Lord, open thy lips. Psalm 51, verse 15. Ha 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 ha, Godhead. The Burning One, Aka Israel, aka Israfel. In Islam, submittance to submits being the angel of the trumpet, they'll name the Quran, along with Mikael, Jibrail, and Israel as one of the 4 Islamic archangels. Israfil will blow the trumpet from a holy rock in Jerusalem to announce the day of resurrection. The trumpet is constantly poised at his lips, ready to be blown when God orders it. Israfil is usually conceived as having a huge hairy body that is covered with mouths and tongues, and that reaches from the 7th heaven to the throne of God. One wing protects the body, another shields him from God, while the other 2 extend east and west. He is overcome by sorrow, and tears 3 times every day and night at the sight of hell. Israfil is subject to the title of a poem by Edgar Allan Poe, and used for the exotic effect of the name In Heaven a Spirit doth dwell, whose heart sings are a lute. None sings so widely well as the angel Israfil. And in the godly stars, so legends tell, ceasing their hymns to attend the spell of his voice all mute. The Burning One, burning with desire or simply flaming gay. The trumpet is a very phallic symbol, and having expressed such I now state, the verse is quite perverse, more than Mercury of Din and Donai. I was going to entitle this verse Anubis, but decide against it too, for I have seen a significant connection which need to be followed through between this verse and the previous one. 6 plus 4 equals 10. Dot 1 is very phallic in its appearance, and 1 and 0 in its appearance, and 0, oh well, you can surely see, and 1 plus 0 equals 1. The burning one, whose heartstrings are a lute, reminds me of a joke called Sidrat el Montaha. Reminds me of the statement, the God who commands is in my mouth. Cordis sinte serpente. This is not a spoof, but a blatant disrespect and denial of Adonai. Being the plural of Adon, this such ridicule can be seen as satire and considered a spoof. Ah, the articulation of my method, the fulmination of more than just a denunciation, more than just a polemic condemnation, to the Yarmulke-loving, kippa-wearing, kippo, copple-tops. Therefore I say, remember, a bright mat free, Adonai loves you. Skin and bones, a curse to all bergs, barcodes, gas stoves, seek alike. The acceptance of verses in my unholy writ seeks no approval of or from any Adonai adorers. Kill them all. I am the slanderer against towards El, and the adherents of the right-hand path, for the effigies of oppression and ignorance are to whom ridiculed and marked for annihilation. LXXXVIII. Let then my words be vicious and wolf-like to the sheep within view. Call this retribution, not a mere pasquinade, nor a mention of the glory of the trampling at the zoo. For thine eyes have seen the glory side, sights of murder too. 14 words of power, the terror towards the Jew. The terror's marches on. My heart is but not a drop of fear, or pity, or remorse. No empathy for my enemies, or their offspring, with no respect for their elders either. Here is the black sun is a key. Let our weapons be fashioned from the depths, the darkest of arts and sciences, biological and nuclear, economic and obscure. Behold the reckoning, behold the wrath of the Hash, the supreme Seraph, the unforgiving Tanaim. Yes, hit them where it hurts. Let the greater secrets of this verse be set apart from the rest, and through such division the dualistic values underneath these words be pondered on and contemplated. The neophyte, zelator, theorcus, practicus, philosophus, looking at the adeptus minor, adeptus major, and adeptus exemptus, who is looking at the magister templi, magis, and ipsipsis, all seeking the crystal clarity to interpret the curse of this verse, and yet far beyond the Kether's tree, yes, beyond Keter and beyond ineffable. Here, Thaumael usurps triumph of its ruler, and the master of the dual contending forces attain its true victory. All primacy to the spirit hath been denied, and the all-important link between own and other has been severed, thus consigning each to mutually exclusive isolation and absurdity. The line between the living and the dead, a secret ritual of Apep, is found here, locked up in the Stellar Rubae, and thus in this verse the secret is sealed, a ritual for Apep and of Nite. Few is few, or has there been those who have known, lived with the understanding, knowledge, and wisdom of going forth by darkness. Fear not the dark is most ancient, and so far within those darknesses been or will be within the manifestations of such as plentiful. Instead of finding fear of darkness here, let there be acceptance and love and praise, not to be worshipped against, nor banished, nor rebuked. For in the end there is no form of overthrowing the eternal darkness of the great black. Those who seek war shall find it here, for Ra has been defeated in the process. There is absolutely no light which is eternal. Those who are guilty of spitting upon Apep, defiling Apep within the left foot, taking a lance to smite Apep, laying fire upon Apep, is all cursed by the absorption of death. To those who seek proof of my knowledge, I openly express the color green, then black. To the blue lodge, I make mention of something cryptic than the right. More cryptic than the right. Looking at the Dugard or Dugard, the entered a presence I mock. For in my left hand the Bible find no support, and in my right hand there rests an absolute abomination. Let it be a receiving of the mark of the beast. And so with the same right hand I show the sign alluding to the penalty, entered a presence obligation by drawing the right hand rapidly across my neck, then dropping it to my side, knowing that penalty the sign alludes to is having my right throat cut across, my tongue tore out by its roots, and my body buried in the rough sands of the sea at the low water mark, where the tide ebbs and flows twice in 24 hours, should I ever knowingly violate my entered apprentice obligation. Aballs, ha! Then there is the fellow craft degree. The Dugard or Dugard here is a mockery in its own way, and representing the positions of the hands when taking the oath of degree, my right hand on the Holy Bible, square and compass, my left arm forming an angle supported by the square, my left hand in vertical position. Ha ha, here, the sign of fellow craft alludes the penalty of my fellow craft obligation. The fellow sign is made by copying the right hand over the left breast and drawing it quickly across the body, then dropping the hand to the side. The penalty that sign alludes to is having my left breast torn open, heart plucked out, and given to the wild beasts of the field and the fowls of the air, sheep, bow, lekth, and adjecthin. I turn and facing entered apprentice and fellow craft, I sardonically mock the Dugard of the Master Mason, alluding to the position of the hands when taking the oath of the Master Mason, with both hands resting on the Holy Bible, square and compass. Then I spit downward, as though spitting on the Bible, square and compasses. Then I make the sign of the Master Mason, with my left hand at my side. With my right hand I quickly draw my thumb across my waist and my right hip, then dropping my hand to my side, alluding to the Master Mason's obligation. But in my action I recite how I would rather have my body cut in two, my bowels removed, and burned to ashes, which are then to be scattered to the four winds of nowhere, and to pledge my allegiance to the right-hand path. From Tubal Cain to the 5 points of fellowship, where the lion's paw or Mahabone is received, the greatest and most protected Masonic secrets is child's play to me. The secret is brought to a close, with all who intend inscribing the grand hailing sign of distress, and alluding so it is shall be dated from wherever or not this text is a true gem of the occult. Not so-called whistleblower knows where the bodies are burned. What keys does Akaldema hold? Here, OAI, is but a hint at a curse to all degrees, from the mutilation of SR to the fears of Isis, then Set would find Horus prematurely and kill him too. Fears of the setting sun, of night and darkness, of death. Death eternal, there is no light that could ever rival the eternal night. No prayer offered, nor any spell could ever stop the great black. The Kitab al-Maitat becomes proof, evidence, a fact of facts. Even though Apep's characteristics and identity as a face of the forces of darkness was eventually subsumed by Set, the eternal darkness itself has never been truly acquired by any god. We were not born to be lied to. We were not born to be slaves. Let all of the names and actions and deeds of our enemies be cursed in their graves. Numerous has been association between Apophis, Apep, and the Ordo Serpentis. And through Set have many secrets been sealed like only be unlocked by those of the Black Flame. The keys and jewels possessed by the true Black Brotherhood is unfathomable and too numerous to count, often identified through infernal symbolism of the names attributed to Ewaj Festernus. Let it be known, Hereby you, whose eyes bear witness to these words and these verses, that you are going to be met by my meaning. And when that time comes, who shall you be met?